Part 165. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1641. Kingdi's voice suddenly sounded in my ears. Lu Su, the Xuxian formation is not as complicated as you think. There is a Bagua platform in the middle, and 4 gates are built on the 4 sides, namely the Xuxian gate, the Killing Immortal gate, the Juexian gate and the Falling Immortal gate. There are swords on the gates, so that's all. These 4 swords are really the bones of the immortal killing formation. And now, Zhangxia has changed the square gates into 4 huge sword pillars, and the Bagua platform in the middle is on top of the palace in the middle of the 4 huge sword pillars. After hearing this, I asked, so if you want to get out of the Xuxian sect, do you have to take away the Xuxian sword? Kingdi replied, yes, you must take away the Xuxian sword. The Xuxian sword is the formation eye of the Xuxian section in the past. There would be someone holding the sword when the Xuxian formation was in operation, but now there is no one. The difficulty has been reduced a lot. However, I think to completely crack the Xuxian formation, you must enter these 4 gates one by one, and once you enter, the entire Xuxian formation will start to operate. You are just outside the door now and have not walked into it. You must know that the Xuxian formation is unpredictable and it will kill you if you are not careful. My expression became serious and I asked, then what dangers are there in the Xuxian sect? I don't know. There are many changes in each door. Just be careful. I nodded, and just as I was about to step out of the cave, Sudaji stopped me. Wait a minute, I have something for you. After saying that, Sudaji waved her hand casually, and then white light flashed in the air. When the white light dissipated, a simple rectangular sword box appeared on the ground. The sword box is extremely simple, with many ancient seal characters engraved on it that I can't understand, and the entire sword box exudes a barbaric air, which makes people feel fearful. Sudaji stepped forward and patted the sword box. When the sword box was opened, it could only hold 4 swords. This is the sword box that stores the immortal killing sword, the immortal killing sword, the immortal trapping sword, and the immortal absolute sword. Only the sword box can suppress the power of these 4 swords. If you want to successfully obtain the Xuxian sword and master it, you must understand the sword intention of the Xuxian sword. The same is true for the other 3 swords. In other words, understanding the sword's intention is better to say that it is planting the sword's intention in your spirit. In this process, you will endure pain that others can't imagine, so no matter how painful it is, you have to endure it. I reached out and put the sword case on my back, and then said to Sudaji, okay, I understand. This should be the treasure Sudaji mentioned. Kaidi came over, looked at me with worried eyes, and said, Lu Su, please pay attention to safety, I will be there to cheer you up. You must not die. If you die, no one will help me. I'm cooking and no one buys me games anymore. I smiled and said, I'm just saying, do you have anything else in your mind besides games? Of course. I also know how to eat and drink. I pinched Kadi's face and said, okay, I'll go first. Cai nodded. I took a deep breath and stepped out of the cave. There is no place to stay except for the chains. If I want to get close to the Xuxian sword, I have to walk on these chains. These chains are not thick, but rather slender. Walking on them is almost like walking on a tightrope. When my feet touched the chain, the whole world began to tremble crazily, and then, the Xuxian sword emitted a dazzling light and an extremely powerful aura came out. I felt like my chest was hit hard by something, and I couldn't hold back a mouthful of blood that spurted out. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1642. I was shocked inside. I was injured by the power of the Xuxian sword before I even got close to it. This Xuxian sword really lived up to its reputation. I stabilized my body and unlocked the seal of the 6 spiritual veins of dragon energy. The dragon energy flowed through my body, and I instantly felt full of power. In order to avoid long nights and endless dreams, I directly used Nine Eyes' heavenly domain to approach the immortal killing sword. I disappeared instantly, and when I appeared again I was already close to the Zuxian sword. But at this moment, the Zuxian sword once again emitted dazzling golden light. The powerful sword power suddenly attacked me with an overwhelming force. I looked shocked and quickly used Pure Lotus to protect my body. The holy white light condensed into the shape of a lotus around me. The sword power hit Jinglian hard, and the next second, I was directly knocked away by the sword power. Jinglian was directly shattered by the power of the sword. I landed from the air. I quickly stretched out my hand to grab the chain. The corners of my mouth twitched slightly. How can I play with this? You can't even get close, let alone take the sword. At this time, the Zuxian sword exuded a terrifying pressure, and then a scene that shocked me appeared. I saw countless figures suddenly appearing on the surrounding walls. The figures scattered in all directions and landed steadily on countless chains in the air. I looked closely and finally saw the faces of those figures clearly. These people were emitting white light and were shrouded in hazy mist. I couldn't see their specific faces, but they all held a long sword in their hands. King Di's voice rang in my ears. Lusu, be careful, these are ghost sword slaves. Ghost sword slaves were obsessed with swordsmanship during their lifetime. After death, they became immortals in their ghost bodies and continued to practice swordsmanship. With the sword in their hands, they could cut off water and open mountains in the blink of an eye. I have also heard about ghost sword slave. There are many swords in this world, and a sword will definitely attract the pursuit of countless swordsmen. However, the sword also recognizes its owner, and they will only choose strong people. Some swordsmen who cannot master the sword will choose to surrender to the sword, voluntarily give up their souls, and enter the sword to practice as a ghost. The reason why they are said to be sword slaves is because they regard the sword as their master and are willing to become slaves of the most famous sword in the world. As soon as King Di finished speaking, countless sword slaves slowly raised their swords, and then suddenly dropped them. Countless rays of sword energy came towards me in the air. The sword energy is overwhelming and there is no way to avoid it. I looked calm and held my right hand in the air, and Jingxiao was held in my hand. I muttered words and injected dragon energy into the sword body of Jingxiao. Jingxiao emitted a dazzling golden light, and I suddenly raised my hand and made a horizontal slash. A golden sword energy struck forward at an extremely fast speed. The sword energy collides and cancels each other out, but the ghost sword slaves are everywhere, and their attacks come from all directions. I can offset the sword energy in front of me, but I can't take care of the other three directions. In desperation, I can only do it again. Use Pure Lotus to protect your body. Whoosh whoosh. Countless sword energy slashed at Jinglian. Jinglian could resist at first, but as the sword energy attacks became more and more intensive and the power became stronger, Jinglian could no longer resist. It's not okay to continue like this. I took a deep breath and pinched the seal of the 9 layers of Thunder Ju. I superimposed the power of the 9-level thunder technique to the 9th level. In an instant, thunder and lightning splashed all over me, and thunder and lightning as thick as a bucket struck all around me like a dragon. I raised Jingxiao in my hand high, the sword attracted thunder and lightning, and then suddenly dropped the sword. Thunder and lightning exploded in the air instantly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1643. The powerful thunder and lightning directly offset the sword energy released by the ghost sword slave. I took this opportunity to use Nine Eyes' heavenly domain and disappeared again. When I reappeared, I was already next to the Zuxian sword. I stretched out my hand to touch the Zuxian sword, just as my hand was about to touch the Zuxian sword. When the handle was lifted, the Zuxian sword once again exuded powerful sword power. This sword power was like a speeding truck hitting my chest hard. Even if I unlock the 6 spiritual veins seal, it will be difficult for me to resist. In fact, with my current strength, I can keep the 6 spiritual veins open all the time, because I can already control the spiritual energy of the 6 spiritual veins, and my current limit is 8 spiritual veins. Only if I am strong enough can I fully master this power. Just when I was knocked out, the figures of those ghost sword slaves flashed towards me. This gave me such a headache that I couldn't even get close to the Zuxian sword, let alone take it out and break the formation. Facing countless ghost sword slaves, I can only deal with them fighting with each other. After a few rounds of fighting, I found that my attacks could not cause any damage to the ghost sword slave. Even if I cut the ghost sword slave in half with one sword, the ghost sword slave will recover instantly in the next second. My brain was running rapidly, thinking of countermeasures. At this time, I suddenly remembered an ability that I had not used for a long time, which was the soul-stealing blood hand. These ghost sword slaves should be soul bodies, and their souls are very powerful, and they cannot be killed by ordinary means. But the soul-stealing blood hand is different. The soul-stealing blood hand can directly harm the soul. Thinking of this, I no longer hesitated to take a deep breath and cast the 9 Eyes Heavenly Domain. The range of the 9 Eyes Heavenly Domain I was casting now could cover the entire cave. Only in the 9 Eyes Heaven realm can I exert the maximum power of the soul-stealing blood water. As soon as I focused my eyes and thought, the inky darkness around me began to condense around me. In the blink of an eye, the darkness formed a black sea of ghosts. I haven't used the ability of the Ghost Sea for a long time, because there are no more Yin soldiers in the Ghost Sea, but this Ghost Sea also has a very unnatural ability, that is, it can swallow everything. The devouring of the Sea of Ghosts and the blood of the soul-stealing blood hand will definitely destroy all the Ghost Sword slaves. I activated the soul-stealing blood hand, and scarlet blood spread out from my right arm. The blood seemed to be alive, floating in the air and spreading towards the Sea of Ghosts. In the blink of an eye, the black Sea of Ghosts was instantly dyed blood red. I waved my hand casually, and the blood-red Sea of Ghosts spread toward all directions with overwhelming force. Countless ghost sword slaves were instantly submerged in the Sea of Ghosts. The ghost sword slaves struggled desperately in the Sea of Ghosts, trying to escape from the Sea of Ghosts, but how could I give them this chance? I waved my hand again, and countless ghost sword slaves suddenly appeared in the sea of blood. Bloody hands. The bloody hand grabbed the ghost sword slave tightly and dragged him towards the ghost sea. In an instant, the screams of the ghost sword slaves could not be heard. After about 3 minutes, all the ghost sword slaves were swallowed by the Sea of Ghosts, and the entire cave instantly became extremely quiet. I breathed a long sigh of relief, finally getting rid of these troublesome ghost sword slaves. At this moment, a deafening roar of a dragon suddenly sounded from the abyss beneath him. My expression froze and I looked towards the abyss below me, only to see a huge black shadow flying towards me at an extremely fast speed. King Di's voice suddenly sounded in my ears. "Lusu, be careful, that's the Qinglong, the guardian beast of the Zuxian sword." Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1644. The mythical beast Qinglong? I frowned. The direction of the Zuxian sword in the Zuxian formation was east, and the 4 great beasts, Qinglong, were also in the east. Is it possible that these 4 divine swords are guarded by the 4 divine beasts? This is not the outside, but the land of the fallen god is the place closest to the gods. It is normal for divine beasts to appear here. As soon as King Di finished speaking, a blue dragon rushed out of the abyss. This black dragon is shaped like a long snake, with a unicorn head, a carp tail, a long beard on its face, antlers like a deer, and 5 claws. It looks majestic, and it also exudes a suffocating sense of oppression. The green dragon hovered in the air, opened its big mouth and roared at me, and the powerful air wave almost knocked me over. Before I could react, Qinglong launched an attack on me, and its bloody mouth was in front of me in an instant. I used the power of the Nine Eyes heavenly domain to teleport to Qinglong's back. Qinglong began to fly wildly in the air, trying to throw me down. I inserted Jingxiao into Qinglong's body to stabilize my body. Seeing that Qinglong couldn't get rid of me, he immediately made a move that shocked me. I saw Qinglong flying towards the Zuxian sword, and then stretched out his dragon claws to directly grab the Zuxian sword. The next second, the Zuxian sword emits dazzling white light. The white light condenses, and the Zuxian sword instantly becomes extremely huge. The corner of my mouth twitched slightly. What the hell is this green dragon wielding a sword? At this time, Cai Dai shouted from the side, Isn't this the boss Yinglong in the game I fought? I also know something about the Sakura dragon mentioned by Nai Dai. It took root in Ashina after being expelled from the west and became the supreme god of Ashina. She likes the mountains, trees, water, and soil of Ashina country, and is the source of immortal power in the game. Sakurai can use her immense strength to attack, while also using her long sword for melee combat. But although the green dragon in front of me is very similar to Sakura dragon in holding the Zuxian sword in its claws, Sakura dragon is the boss in the game. And it can't move yet. This green dragon can carry me flying all over the sky. Cai Dai shouted excitedly, Lusu. Let me do it. I have experience. I looked at Cai Dai and said angrily, when did this happen? Can you be more reliable? Don't always think about your game. As soon as I finished speaking, Qinglong waved the immortal killing sword in his hand, and a huge and sharp sword energy directly cut the entire cave in half. At the same time, the entire cave began to collapse. My heart sank. This Qinglong was really smart and knew that the range of activities in the cave was small. It couldn't use it and even split the mountain to take me outside. Before I could stop him, the green dragon flew out along the crack in the mountain. The blue dragon rose up to the sky, and then with a sudden force, he threw me off his back. If I fall from such a height, I will die. Just when I was anxiously thinking about countermeasures, I suddenly saw a burst of colorful light coming not far away. I was slightly startled that it was Cai Dai. I saw that Cai Dai had transformed into her own body. Her real body was a colorful butterfly. I had seen it before and it was only the size of a palm. But now, Cai Dai's body has become more than 10 times larger. She caught me steadily, and I stood on Cai Dai's back. The sound of colorful butterflies rang in my ears. I'm going to be aggrieved this time and act as your mount. You have to listen to me later. I'm very experienced in beating this guy. I was speechless for a moment and couldn't help but say, please, this is reality, not a game. It's all the same. Don't worry about it so much. Just as Cai Dai and I were bickering, the green dragon was galloping towards us. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1645. I said to Cai Dai with a solemn expression, be careful later. Cai Dai confidently replied, as long as I'm here, there will be no surprises. Don't worry, Lusu. Qinglong came to me and Cai Dai in the blink of an eye. Qinglong waved his huge Zuxian sword and slashed hard at Cai Dai and me. A huge sword energy attacked me with overwhelming force. Moreover, this sword energy is also mixed with strong dragon energy. Before the sword energy comes close, I can feel the mountain-like oppression. Get out of the way. I shouted at Nabi. Colorful Butterfly reacted immediately, waving her colorful wings and flying towards the left. The powerful and sharp sword energy whizzed past Cai Dai and me. When the sword energy passed by me, a chill rushed from the solace of my feet to Tianling Gai. This chill made my limbs a little stiff. If Cai die and I had not escaped just now, Cai die and I would have died on the spot. I looked at the green dragon hovering in the sky. It was soaring in the clouds and mist, with a domineering figure. Its blue eyes were staring at me, and the killing intent in their eyes almost swallowed me up. Qinglong waved the Zuxian sword again, and several sword energy struck me again. The sword energy wielded by Qinglong is fundamentally different from that of the Ghost Sword Slave. Although the Ghost Sword Slave's sword energy is sharp, it is not big in size. As for the sword energy wielded by Qinglong, it is extremely huge. The sword energy is like a rainbow, sharp and mysterious, and the white sword light seems to be able to cover up the brilliance of the sun and the moon, which makes people feel sad. Fear. Cai Dai flew quickly in the air to dodge. She dodged very quickly, but the speed of the sword was as fast as thunder. There were several times when Cai Dai almost escaped, but I used the ability of the Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain to help the two of us escape. Day of birth. Lu Su, why is this different from the one in the game? The boss in the game is extremely clumsy, but this guy is so fast. I was speechless and said, can games be the same as reality? Cai Dai said to me while dodging the sword energy, we have to find a way. If this continues, both of us will definitely die. Cai Dai is right, we can't continue to waste it. The longer it takes, the more detrimental it will be to me and Cai Dai. I took a deep breath and released the dragon energy in my body. The dragon energy condensed and formed in the air, and more than a dozen golden dragons hovered in the sky. Now I can only find a way to restrain Qinglong first, and then I will find a way to kill Qinglong at close range and take back the immortal killing sword. But even if I can kill Qinglong, I still can't get the Zuxian sword, because the sword power exuded by the Zuxian sword is too powerful, and I will be knocked away as soon as I get close. I asked Qingdi, is there any way that I can get access to the Zuxian sword? Qingdi was silent for a while and then replied, I don't know if this method will work. You have Zaiwei True Yuan. When you get close to the Zuxian sword, you can mobilize the True Yuan in your body and try to see if you can touch the Zuxian sword. Okay. I'll give it a try. I replied to Qingdi. As soon as I finished speaking, I raised Jingxiao in my hand without any hesitation and pointed the sword at Qinglong. More than a dozen golden dragons roared toward the green dragon. Nai Dai, you take the opportunity to get close to Qinglong, and then I will use the ability of the Nine Eyes Heaven to get close to Qinglong. When I disappear, you get out of here quickly. Kadi agreed, and then asked worriedly, then what will you do if I leave? Don't worry, I will find a way. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qingnian Wanbao. Chapter 1646. More than a dozen golden dragons were hovering in the sky, extremely vigorous and full of might. The green dragon did its part, holding the Zuxian sword tightly in its claws and trembling with the golden dragons. In an instant, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked, and the sun and the moon lost light. I quietly watched the situation on the field. Golden dragons are things condensed by dragon energy. They are the souls of the dragon veins of China, and their strength is not weaker than that of real dragons. However, with the Qinglong immortal killing sword in hand, he swung out the sword, causing heavy casualties to more than a dozen golden dragons, and some of them disappeared on the spot. While the green dragon and the golden dragon were fighting fiercely, I shouted to Cai Dai, now. After receiving my order, Cai Dai attacked Qinglong at an extremely fast speed. Qinglong seemed to feel something. He opened his bloody mouth, looked up to the sky and roared, and a dragon roar resounded throughout the world. At this moment, a powerful sword energy drew a circle with Qinglong as the center, and the sword energy roared in all directions without distinction. Such a powerful sword energy was enough to tear everything apart. Seeing the sword energy getting closer and closer, I shouted at Cai Dai, "Leave here immediately and go to a safe place." Cai Dai also knew that the situation was extremely dangerous. If she continued to stay here, this sword energy would directly kill her. Okay. Lu Su, please pay attention to safety. I used Nine Eyes Heaven Realm and disappeared instantly. At the same time, Cai Dai also began to evacuate quickly. The distance between me and Qinglong is not far. With the Nine Eyes Heavenly Domain, I can easily avoid the sword energy and reach Qinglong. The facts turned out exactly as I expected. When I appeared again, I had landed smoothly on Qinglong's head. Qinglong felt my presence and started struggling wildly, trying to throw me off again. How could I suffer the same loss twice? To be honest, I, Lu Su, have killed many dragons. Although this green dragon is a mythical beast, I can definitely deal with it easily with my strength. The bad thing is that the green dragon holds the immortal killing sword in his hand. At this moment, I suddenly realized that I could easily deal with all the dangers in the Zuxian sword. Take the ghost sword slaves for example. Those ghost sword slaves are very powerful. If a true god entered them, it would be difficult to leave alive. If I didn't have the soul-stealing blood water and the sea of ghosts, I would probably be dead. No wonder all the gods said that only I can break the formation. This is what they meant. I raised Jingxiao in my hand high, my face condensed, and I used the Ziwei true qi in my body. The true essence of Ziwei is the qi of the emperor, the qi of the king. With the existence of the emperor's true energy, the emperor's body and country will be blessed by God. To be precise, as long as the land of China is not destroyed and the human race prospers, Ziwei Zhenyuan will be very powerful. When I released Ziwei Zhenyuan before, purple light would appear all over my body, but this time, the light that appeared around me turned out to be golden. I don't know why this is, but it doesn't affect my actions. I held Jingxiao in my right hand, and started to pinch the 9-level thunder technique with my left hand. The power of my thunder technique was superimposed to the 9th level. In an instant, lightning flashed and thundered in the sky. In addition, the purple essence of my body leaked out, and golden light shot straight into the sky. In an instant, the black sky was covered with golden light. At the same time, the thunder and lightning hovering in the sky were also affected. The baptism of Ziwei Zhenyuan's imperial energy changed the color instantly. Golden thunder and lightning tore the sky apart, and a vast coercion descended from the sky. There are many kinds of thunder methods, such as 5 thunder methods, palm thunder, 36 thunder methods, and the golden thunder and lightning hovering in the sky also has its own name, that is Emperor Thunder. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1647. Qinglong seemed to feel the threat and began to struggle wildly. If I get thrown out at this time, all my efforts will be in vain. My sword draws the thunder from the sky and injects all the power into Jingxiao. I don't know if Jingxiao can bear it, but now I have no other choice. All the golden imperial thunder submerged into the Jingxiao. Holding the Jingxiao in my hand, I could clearly feel the terrifying power it exuded. At this moment, Qinglong threw me away, and I slashed down with my sword. The moment the Jingxiao fell, endless imperial thunder burst out from the Jingxiao sword body. The imperial thunder condensed into a golden sword energy and slashed towards Qinglong with unmatched power. In an instant, the whole world was filled with thunder, and golden light directly covered the entire black sky. When the sword energy condensed by Emperor Lei touched Qinglong's neck was cut off directly. The huge dragon corpse fell from the sky, and the Zuxian sword also fell to the ground at an extremely fast speed. I used Nine Eyes Heaven Realm and came directly to the Zuxian sword. I stretched out my hand to take the sword. This time, the power of the Zuxian sword did not knock me away. It seems that Qing Emperor is right, only Ziwei Zhenyuan can withstand the immortal killing sword. I held the Zuxian sword, and then, my whole body began to fall rapidly. At this time, my eyes suddenly went dark, and I seemed to see the colorful sky. The colorful sky flashed by, and I was slightly startled. What was going on? Why did this picture flash before my eyes? I heard a loud bang, and I landed firmly on the ground. No, it was not the ground, but Cai dies back. Lusu, it's time for your sword to become fatter. You are simply too heavy. The sound of colorful butterflies rang in my ears. I said speechlessly, where am I heavier? You are obviously heavier. Cai Dai said dissatisfiedly, if you say I'm too important again, I'll throw you out of here. I sat up and smiled without saying anything. I looked at the Zuxian sword in my hand. If I want to master this Zuxian sword, I must accept the baptism of the sword's intention. In short, it means mastering the Zuxian sword's intention. I will do this after landing. Kadi put me on a bridge, which led to another stone sword. I got off Nadia. Nadia returned to her original shape. She came up and kicked me in the butt. Lusu, don't call me fat again. Okay, don't say anything anymore. As you grow older, your temper will also grow bigger. Humph, Kadi snorted softly, put her hands on her hips and rolled her eyes at me. At this time, Sudaji came over. When she saw the immortal killing sword in my hand, she subconsciously kept her distance from me. Lusu, I have to say that you are very powerful, but with this immortal killing sword, you cannot be the opponent of the gods. You'd better understand the sword's intention as soon as possible and go to the next place. I looked at Sudaji and nodded, then sat cross-legged on the ground and placed the Zuxian sword in front of me. I don't know how to understand the Zuxian sword meaning, so I can only ask Kingdi. Kingdi told me that the Zuxian sword has a spirit, and I just need to be patient and feel it to feel its sword intention. However, Kingdi also told me that if you want to successfully comprehend the sword intention of the Zuxian sword, you will endure unimaginable pain. If you cannot persist, you will die. I said to Kingdi, don't worry, I won't die so easily. Having said that, I stretched out my hand and gently brushed the blade of the Zuxian sword, and then closed my eyes. I carefully felt the power of the sword from the Zuxian sword. I don't know how long it took, but I suddenly opened my eyes and found that I reached out into a barren land. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1648. It seems that the sword intention of Zuxian sword is here. I looked around and suddenly noticed a white light out of the corner of my eye. I was slightly stunned and walked towards the white light. After walking for about 2 minutes, I came to the white light. The white light is emitted by a white mist. This mist is extremely transparent, and the light it emits is particularly dazzling. This should be the Zuxian sword intent. I subconsciously reached out and grabbed the white mist. When my hand touched the white mist, the mist suddenly spread out and floated around. How is this going? I originally thought that this white energy would be absorbed directly by me. Just when I was doubting, the white mist condensed in the air into the shape of long swords. If I looked carefully, the shape of the long swords was exactly the same as the Zuxian sword. Countless long swords floated in the air, suddenly. Countless long swords pointed their sword tips at me. I was startled, and then countless long swords rushed towards me. I wanted to run, but I found that my body couldn't move. No matter how hard I struggled, I couldn't move at all. This is when I suddenly heard Kingdi telling me that if I want to understand the Zuxian sword intent, I have to endure unimaginable pain, and this pain is fatal. Can 1,000 swords pierce the heart? I smiled bitterly, the pain was indeed suffocating. Countless long swords came straight towards me. I couldn't hide and could only stand there and let the swords penetrate my body. Ah! I couldn't help but scream in pain, and my whole body was directly pierced by the sword. This pain not only comes from the body, but also from the depths of the soul. It is not an exaggeration to say that the liver and intestines were broken, and the skin was peeled by cramps. Scarlet blood flowed out from the wound, instantly turning the earth red. Because of the pain, I almost passed out, but every time I fell into a coma, I would wake up from the pain. Suddenly, the long sword stuck in my body suddenly disappeared, and the wounds on my body were slowly recovering. Just when I thought it was all over, white mist floated in the air again. Again. The white mist condensed into a sword and stabbed at me again. The pain this time was even stronger than the first time. I fell into coma again and woke up again and again. After a while, the long sword disappeared again, and my wounds began to heal quickly. Just as the wound healed, the sword appeared again. I really didn't know if I could survive it. Maybe, I will be tortured to death by this pain. I don't know how many times my heart has been pierced by Wanjian. And the pain is incremental, so I won't be numb, it will only hurt more and more each time. I should be in the soul world now, and I want to give up. If I let my soul go, I will die quietly and won't suffer such pain. Just when I wanted to give up, I thought of Su Tianxian, Huaxiu, Cai Dai, third uncle. I can't give up yet, there are still people waiting for me in this world. They still hope that I can live well. I carry their future and the whole world on my shoulders. Thinking of this, I immediately gave up the idea of committing suicide and let the sword pass through my heart. I don't know how long it took, but there was no movement around, the white mist was no longer gathering, and my body could move. I looked around blankly, and a white light fell from the sky and went straight into the center of my eyebrows. The next second, in front of my eyes it went dark again, and when I opened my eyes again, I was back on the bridge. At a glance, I saw Cai Dai kneeling in front of me and crying bitterly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1649. Kadi, why are you crying? I asked doubtfully. Kaidi's delicate body trembled slightly when she heard my voice. She suddenly raised her head and looked at me with tears in her eyes. Lusu, Cai Dai fell into my arms, hugged me tightly, and choked with sobs, I thought you were dead. Kadi's reaction made me even more confused. In the end, what happened? Cai Dai raised her head and rubbed Qianbai, and said, you suddenly had a lot of sword wounds on your body just now. And there was a lot of blood. Look at the ground covered with your blood. I looked in the direction Cai Dai pointed, and sure enough I found a large amount of blood on the ground. Moreover, the sword wound on your body will heal on its own, and it will reappear after it heals. Will the damage received in the spiritual world be fed back into the real world? Isn't this unreasonable? However, I didn't think too much about it. After all, I have successfully mastered the Zuxian sword and all my injuries have recovered, so there is no need to worry about it. Kaidi, I stretched out my hand and gently rubbed her little head, comforting, okay, don't be sad, am I okay? Lusu, you really scared me just now. I really thought you were going to die. What? Are you so looking forward to my death? Cai Dai stretched out her hand and pinched me angrily, nonsense. Lusu. You are so annoying. I will ignore you. At this time, Sudaji came over and asked, how's it going? I slowly raised the immortal killing sword in my hand and said, I have mastered it. Sudaji's frowning eyebrows slowly relaxed, and she said to me, let's go, after you successfully get the immortal killing sword, I will take you to the Sky Coffin. In the Sky Coffin, as long as you can do it, for what I have entrusted you, I will lead the Fox clan to introduce all our cultivation practices into your body. Although I have mastered the Zuxian sword now, my own strength has not reached the point where I can compete with the gods. When I get back the 4 divine swords and Sudaji returns to the palace, the Fox clan's ability to help each other will make a qualitative leap. Of course, if I can get the remaining 2 evil spirits to return to the palace, my strength will definitely reach an unprecedented height. I nodded and put the immortal killing sword into the sword box, then carried the sword box and walked towards the location of the immortal killing sword. On the way, I asked Sudaji, "What exactly do you want me to do?" "You'll know then." Sudaji smiled at me. I hesitated for a while and asked, "As a greedy evil spirit, you should know who the last evil spirit is and where he is, right?" "You want to know?" Sudaji turned around and looked at me with a smile. I nodded. Sudaji pondered for a moment and said, "I can't tell you this matter directly. I can only remind you that the last evil spirit is far away and right in front of you. You and he see each other almost every day. Saying this is the same as not saying it." Su Tianqian also said that the last evil spirit has a close relationship with me. I sighed slightly. There must be a road from the car to the mountain, and the bridge to the bow of the boat is naturally straight. Instead of worrying about who it is better to think about how to solve the current problem. Soon, we arrived in front of the immortal killing gate. Looking at this ancient door in front of me, my heart became extremely solemn. The immortal killing sword is very difficult to obtain, let alone the immortal killing sword. I took a deep breath and stretched out my hand to slowly push open the ancient door. With a creak, the ancient door opened. A very hot breath came out from inside. This hot breath is enough to burn everything. Cai Dai and Sudaji on the side showed pain on their faces and backed away. Sky Coffin. Author, Qing Nian Wanbao. Chapter 1650. The breath that burst out from the immortal slaughter sect was indeed hot, but I didn't have that much of a reaction. I looked back at Cai Dai and Sudaji and asked, "What's wrong with you?" Sudaji frowned and shouted at me, "Lu Su, close the door quickly. Otherwise Cai Dai and I will lose our minds." I was shocked and quickly closed the immortal killing gate. Sudaji and Cai Dai gasped for air, their pretty faces full of shock. I quickly stepped forward and asked, "What on earth is going on?" Sudaji patted her bulging chest and said, "If I guess correctly, the immortal killing sect not only has the immortal killing sword but also the jade void glazed lamp." "Yugzi glazed lamp?" I exclaimed. "There are 4 precious lanterns in this world, namely the lotus lamp, the Yugzi glazed lamp, the 8 scenery palace lamp, and the coffin lamp. Among them, the 3 lanterns of Yugzi glazed lamp, Bajing palace lamp and coffin lamp are also called the 3 lanterns of heaven, earth, and man. There is a golden flame in the sky lantern, the jade void glazed lantern, which is called the ancient Yi of all spirits. According to legend, this fire has the ability to detect all spirits. The owner is Yuanqi Tianzun, the saint of heaven. The floor lantern is the 8 scene palace lantern. There is a purple flame inside the lantern, which is called purple fire burning the sky. The power of this fire is infinite. According to legend, it can burn the sky and boil the sea. It is the magical weapon of Tai's Hang Lejun. There is a group of gray flames in the coffin lantern, which is called the ghost fire. This fire goes straight to the netherworld and has the ability to show the life of the deceased. It is a companion treasure of Ran Deng Taoist. As for the Baolian lamp Nuwa's treasure, it is a spiritual object generated from chaos. It is the first of the 4 spiritual lamps. The fire in the lamp is the 7 treasures wonderful fire, which is colorful. When activated, it has the power to shake the world and reverse the universe. Baolian the lamp protects the body and cannot be hurt by the Zuxian sword. The lotus lamp protects the master and can offset the blow of the sky-opening axe. It's just that the lotus lamp has been lost long ago. No one knows where the lamp is. It is rumored that it is in the hands of Nuwa's descendants. These 4 lamps are rare magic weapons, and their flames are extremely powerful. If there is a spiritual lamp in the 4 gates of the Xuxian formation, then why is there not one in the Xuxian gate? Just when I was doubting, King Di gave me the answer. These 4 spiritual lamps should have been placed by Zhangzia in the 4 gates. If I guessed correctly, there will be a spiritual lamp in each of the 4 gates except the Xuxian gate. I asked, then why isn't it in the Xuxian sect? King Di replied, because the lotus lantern should be placed in Xuxian sect, but I have never seen the lotus lantern, and Zhangzia should not be able to find it either. I suddenly realized that King Di continued, these 4 spiritual lanterns should be very important to you. You told me before that these 4 spiritual lanterns are the everlasting lights in front of the coffin. The everlasting lantern refers to a kind of lamp lit in traditional Chinese customs, which refers to a lamp that lasts for a long time. I actually used 4 precious lanterns as everlasting lights in front of the coffin? I took a breath. I never thought I would be so extravagant. I pondered for a moment and then asked, then what role do these 4 precious lanterns play in the sky coffin? I have to ask you, I don't know. I smiled awkwardly. I wanted to know too, but my memory hasn't recovered yet and I can't remember anything. Since these 4 treasure lanterns are very important to the sky coffin, I will take them away. Lusa Sudaji said to me, we can't enter the Slaughter Immortal section. Once we enter, it will definitely be destroyed, so you can only rely on yourself.